Hey everyone. So today I'm talking about tinnitus. So if you're someone that suffers with tinnitus, you will probably understand everything I'm going to say. So I've suffered with tinnitus most of my adult life. For the most part of it, it was just a low buzzing sound I had, which really didn't interfere with my life much. It was just I heard it only when I listened for it. Or maybe once in a blue moon, I was like, wow, I got a lot of ringing today. And it would go away. And it'd be just a low buzz for days, if not weeks, maybe even months. And literally out of nowhere, and like out of nowhere, I mean, one night I woke up about 2 years ago with this roaring, buzzing sound in my head, in my ears, I felt like, that was ringing uncontrollably. Where I woke up and I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And it just was blasting to where I stayed up all night freaking out over this friggin' crazy, crazy buzzing sound that I had. I tried everything. I tried not to listen to it. I tried ignoring it. I put videos on. I literally took the phone and put it on my ear so the volume would just drown out the noise to listening to, videos on tinnitus and videos on, I'm a Christian, so I listen to different pastors, and that helped me. I just listened to this one pastor, and like I said, I had the phone on the pillow and my head was on the phone just to drown out this noise. And that was probably about 4 or 5 hours into suffering, feeling like, wow, this is making me completely crazy. And I woke up the next morning and wow, not that I woke up the next morning. I think I dozed off for like 15 minutes at a time and I woke up to it until I finally got out of bed and I was just like, I can't even tell you what I felt like. It was like insanely horrible. And that day and the weeks to follow, which actually ran into months to follow, but especially the first 4, 6, 8 weeks, I was like, that's it. I'm going to lose my mind. I am going to go crazy because there's no way I'm going to get used to this. It never gave in, not one drop, to where all I thought about and heard was this buzzing that just roaring through my friggin' ears. I watched all these videos. I did everything. Went to a doctor and, he was like, you're one of many people. You got to ignore it. And I was like, ignore it? How do you ignore something that's screaming in your ears consistently? It's not like it screams and it lets off and screams. No, consistently to where it doesn't go down. For probably about a year, the first few months was the worst, to where I had massive anxiety. I hardly ever slept. I didn't really talk about it much because when I talked about it, I would get panic attacks from it. If I did talk about it, it was to 1 or 2 people, and they couldn't even understand what I was really going through. So I did a lot of praying. I did everything. And I watched a lot of videos. And when I say a lot, I mean probably hundreds of videos on YouTube. And I kept hearing a lot of people say, and in comments, that you have to make peace with it. You can't fight this. And I would be like, how do you make peace with this? And I started to think, and that's the first thing I worked with. I said, Jimmy, you got to make peace with this. It's not going away. It's only getting, if anything, it's getting worse. And I would listen to all these videos and people would say, if you have a fan on, you don't listen to the fan the whole time. You hear it in the background, and a refrigerator that goes on, things like that. And I started to really think about that. Like, yeah, well, that's true. If you have a fan that's a little noisy, you don't listen to it the whole time. And mind you, the noise to a fan is a tenth of the sound that people like myself that suffer severe tinnitus. But I did take that into consideration, and I started to think that, all right, learn how to just not focus on it. Learn how to just stop dialing into it. Just go about your day. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of practice. And while I was watching these videos, I would see all these techniques, like different neck techniques, different, tapping of the back of the head, people speaking of diet, all these different things. And I started to analyze, because I started getting days where it would simmer, because I guess I was starting to make peace with it. And there were days where it would kind of lower. It wasn't quite as, blaring as other days. And I started thinking, well, what is it? Because there are days where I can deal with it. Not that it goes away. I can deal with it. It's not making me feel like I'm going to lose my mind or edgy or moody or whatever it is, because that happened constantly because of what I was suffering. And I started to, I seen this one video, and it was about hydration. And I was like, well, you're not really good at hydrating. You drink a lot of caffeine. I love coffee. I'm Italian, so kind of goes with it, I guess. But I really took it into consideration, and I started to hydrate. And lo and behold, a couple of days in, I noticed there was a little difference. That it was, it knocked down a few notches, which a few notches when it's blaring, you're so thankful that it knocked down. If someone that never suffered tinnitus had it at the level where it was knocked down to what I felt grateful for, they probably would feel like they were going to lose their mind. So, and I know many people out there that suffer from tinnitus know exactly what I'm saying. So I started to work with drinking more water and hydrating and having Gatorades and stuff like that, and cutting back on the caffeine. And then I seen videos that was saying, it could be, a thing with your neck. It could be, a pinched nerve. It could be different things like that. So I always, especially in the last few years, have suffered with a lot of neck problems. I would wake up in the morning and my neck would be just killing me. And I would kind of snap it and crack it and whatever. And not quite snap it, but, crack it. And although there were days I did feel like snapping it. But, and then like I said, I seen these videos and I said, maybe try to do some neck exercises, just different things that they showed how to do these exercises. And honestly, they really started helping. And it's been it's been about 6 months, I would say, to where I still have days where it's screaming. But I have worked with it so much to where it's at, like, number from 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. In my, how I would gauge it, 10 was where I was at. And I'm probably at like a 6, I would say. But there are days it's a 7, 8, and sometimes a 10. But the days when it's a 10, I hear it and I say, make peace with it. Don't try to control it. Don't try to, fight it down. It's not going to happen. Just make peace with it. Say, all right, this is something that I have, and praise God, it's not going to take my life. It's not, that type of thing where it's, going to kill you. I have read people have committed suicide because of it. I pray to God, no one who hears this would do that. You can deal with it. You can work with it. It's workable. I'm someone that probably was one of the worst tinnitus people out there, and I literally have it to where I have control over it. I make sure I'm hydrated. When it starts ringing loud and I hear it escalating, I think about it. I'm like, well, how you doing with hydration today? I'm like, not so good. And yesterday wasn't so good either. And I say, start hydrating. And I hydrate. Like I said, I do neck exercises. And honestly, I think the biggest thing is making peace with it. Accept it. Because once you accept it, that alone is going to help it go down. Because you're not going to dial into it 24/7. You have to train yourself. I started off by listening to these videos that are for tinnitus. It's, like crickets and, things like that. And it sounds weird, because it mimics it, or it sounds like the sound you hear. Some people hear like crickets, other people hear, a roar, whatever it may be, different things. So you have to find something that sounds like what you have. And there's some really great videos on YouTube that they last for hours. So when I was trying to accept it, and I was, at that point with this, when I was really not doing well with accepting it, I would put my ear pods in and I would just listen to those videos. And it really would help, because after listening to them for a few hours or so, I would take the ear pods out and it seemed like it went down. And because it was like a few hours, I wasn't thinking about it, because something about like knowing that you have the ear pods that are making the sound, it's okay. But if your brain's making the sound, that's not good. It's crazy. So I was like, so when I took them out, I guess my brain kind of like just was adjusting to where I wasn't thinking about it as much. And I still do that every so often, not quite as much, but that's how I started to make peace with it. Then after so many times using the ear pods or whatever it may be that you guys have, you'll see that it helps. It takes your mind off of it. And little by little, your mind starts to ignore it to where you're not thinking about it quite so much. And when I catch myself dialing in And not like you hear it, because as I'm speaking to you, I hear it, but I'm not putting my attention towards it. I hear it and I keep going, and just like a fan, as they say, you hear it and you don't think about it. And that's what you have to really work with. And like I said, you have to take baby steps and try different things and listening to these videos that mimic the sound, that's really like a key thing. And eventually you'll not be zooming in and focusing 100% on it. So, everyone's different. So, I think that in itself is kind of universal for people that have tinnitus. Start with, accepting it and listen to videos that have the sound that you're suffering. And, you can't do it for like 10 minutes and be like, okay, no, you have to like put them in. If you're at work, just go through the day with them in, have it on, and, just do that as much as you can until you feel like you got a little control over it. And then kind of like go through it without it. And once you see you're starting to dial back into it, start using the, your ear pods or whatever it is that you use for that. And and just keep working with that. It's not going to happen in a couple of days. You will feel relief. Like if you have it, let's say today, you're listening to this video and you're like, wow, I'm really suffering with this tinnitus today, or for days or weeks, months, whatever it is. Try it and give it a few hours. And after a few hours, whether it's 3 hours, 5, 8, whatever it may be, I would say the longer, definitely the better. And then see how you feel once you stop listening to that. And see if, for like maybe the first half hour, it's not horrible. And you're not really dialing into it. You're kind of still going about what you do. And try it, because you will get relief the first time you do this. But you can't do it, like I said, for 10, 20 minutes or a half hour. You have to have them in for a good period of time and listening to it. So, and then once you do that, start researching like what, other people are saying. And think about yourself, is it your diet? Is it something that's triggering it? Are you, whatever it may be. Do you have a lot of caffeine? Do you eat a lot of sweets? Do you have problems with your neck? Just you have to think about what they're saying and, go down the list. And it's going to take time until you really figure out which one it is that really aggravates your tinnitus. Like I said, I'm not at a point where I don't have it at all. I have watched different programs and other, I've watched doctors, and I've seen, read a lot of comments where people are like, I don't even hear it anymore. And that gives me hope. That definitely gives me hope. God willing, that will be me in time. And if it's not, like where it's at, for the most part, I'm okay now. I definitely don't feel like I'm going crazy. It doesn't alter my moods. It's, yesterday it was loud. I was working, I have a landscaping company. I was working on my trucks. It was Sunday. It's, beginning of the season, May. This is what landscapers do, some of them at least. And, but it was loud. And I caught it and I was like, you didn't hydrate yesterday or today, get on it. And sure enough, and it's weird because you can guzzle 4 glasses of water and it's not like going to take it right down. It takes 24 hours or so for your body to really get hydrated again. And once it's hydrated, you see that, for me at least, it came down. Like today it's better. I'm dealing with it, but I'm hydrating all day. So, and I did my neck exercises and stuff like that. So, I hope this was helpful to you guys. I strictly make this video, I made this video for just because I was thinking about it today. Like, I'm grateful that, I got control. I got very good control over this now. And I'd like to, if I can help somebody with this, that's just awesome to me, because I know what it's like to feel like, I'm going to lose my mind because of this. And, please believe me, you're not going to lose your mind. It's going to probably alter your moods and make you feel like you're going to lose your mind. But eventually, if you're someone new suffering from tinnitus, this is, I'm talking to, so you won't lose your mind. People that have been dealing with this for years, they already know that they're not going to lose their mind. It's just some people accept it like me, and they find ways to deal with it and get it to come down. And there's some that just been living with it for years or their whole lives or whatever it may be, and they it alters their moods, and it kind of screws their life up. Sorry for the just the saying, but it does. It could screw your life up, if you don't really work with it. But for people that are new with it, you may feel like, I'm going to lose my mind. I am going to wind up in a crazy friggin' house because of this. And the truth is that, you're really not. You may start seeing, therapists and psychiatrists and stuff like that. That's totally cool. I'm not saying not to do that. But you're really not going to lose your mind. It's not something that will, because it's weird. Your brain is powerful. Even if you make peace with it or you don't, your brain will eventually just start to work with it. Not to say that it will be working with it pleasantly. It will work with it, but like I said, it may just have you moody at times and grumpy and, moments of like, wish it would go away type thing. But when you make peace with it and you really work with it, it doesn't really alter your moods anymore. And it doesn't really get you to the point where, you're so frustrated, you're yelling like, just go away. Because I know I've been there. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. And, I pray all you people get some relief and hang in there, If you like this video, let me know. This way, it could be something that I start doing to help other people, but I won't know unless you like this video and maybe throw some comments and stuff. I really greatly appreciate it. Well, anyway, have a great day.